everyone. My name is Michael Goff, and I'm Principal Product Marketing here at Revenera, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, How to Drive Renewals and Reduce Churn with Monetization Analytics. Today, we're joined by Revenera's Ravi Trivedi, Senior Product Manager, and Daniel Bellini, Senior Solution Engineer, who are going to drill down into turning entitlement data into actionable insights and how different personas in your organization can leverage them to drive renewals, increase product line profitability, and make informed decisions. Before we get started, though, let's go over a few housekeeping details. First, today's discussion will be roughly 40 to 45 minutes long, and if you have any questions or comments, please add them in the Q&A tab, and we will try to answer them as we go along, or at the end if time allows. If we don't get to your questions, don't worry. We will follow up with you individually after the event. Please be sure to check out the Handouts tab, where we've shared a number of resources relevant to today's topic. And finally, we will be sending you a link to the recording in the next 48 hours. So let's get started. So you may have seen this quote from Google CEO before that highlights the difference between data and knowledge and making that knowledge useful. But I do think it's particularly relevant to today's conversation. It makes me think of a very heady question that I heard in my very first class as a college student. How do we know what we know? Now, we certainly don't have time to get into the wide range of answers that question inspires, but it does speak to the differences between the ability to collect data and the ability to turn that data into knowledge and insights. I've seen some estimates that globally more than 400 terabytes of data are being created every day. Software businesses especially are increasingly investing in technologies to capture and analyze data from pre-purchase research all the way through to the use of their software and devices. But collecting that data is just the first step. And in a world where annual recurring revenue is increasingly important, the ability to drive renewals and reduce churn is critical to success and growth. So today, we're going to dig into turning entitlement data into useful knowledge that can be used by a wide range of teams in your organization to meet their goals and to make the business successful. So with that, let me hand things over to Ravi. Ravi?
Yep, sure. Thank you, Michael. That was a good kickoff, right? So when Google turns the data into knowledge and makes it useful for their customers to be successful, a good question to ask in your quote to cash space, right, is what are you missing in your monetization journey, right? Most entitlement and license lifecycle management systems in the market today, they do a pretty good job at giving clear visibility and reports into your products, the downloads, the entitlements, the fulfillment activations, and the kind of usage that your customers are doing in your platform, right? However, right, it's important to understand that there are hidden insights beyond just this clear visibility that these systems provide, right? These systems don't leverage the data to provide the visibility into a potential upsell or a cross sell. Most times they lack early warning system about a potential churn or a renewal risk, or if it's a product manager and he's trying to use these insights to make informed product decision about a future of product or a feature, right? The often these insights are not useful to answer those questions, right? The monetization analytics is unique in this aspect, and this comes as part of your FlexNet Operations for Cloud ALM, and it uses these data and uncovers these visibility gaps that complete your quote to cash journey, right? And gives you answer into what you are missing in your monetization journey, right? So beyond this, let's just look at uh, a bit more detail about what I just said, right? So, like I said, entitlement management systems are rich in data about downloads, entitlement activations, and usage. It creates opportunities, right, for a producer of a software or a device or a software as a service to gain actionable insights for your revenue teams. Use this data to find out if there are early warnings about your customers churning out, or it presents opportunity to look at various revenue teams' goals and align the insights to meet those goals or objectives, right? And oftentimes, if you're a big enterprise and you have a mature ERP, CRM, and a revenue recognition system, you might want to pick data from our universes and mix it up with other objects in your quote to cash ecosystem and create more meaningful insights. Right now, like I said, monetization analytics, which is part of FlexNet Operations Cloud ALM, cuts through a lot of data, like Michael said, right? The terabytes of data, right? It cuts through a lot of data about entitlement, fulfillment, product downloads, and it delivers the actionable insights and the flexibility that you, as a producer or a vendor, need to succeed in getting those insights that help various revenue teams at your company, or provide an early warning system, or possibly there are other product lines in your company who want to use self-service reporting, design their own reports with the platform we provide or the tools we provide in our analytics, and also kind of trigger off proactively and event based notifications for your customers and other systems that you work with, right? So this is what monetization analytics empowers you with, and the outcomes that the various revenue teams at your company, like customer success, product sales, operations, renewals, or for that matter, even C-suite executives can achieve using this module is really to reduce customer churn and ensure a healthy ARR for your company as a producer, make informed product decisions to stay profitable, right? As a sales, you can drive upsell or cross sell, and as a mature enterprise, you can seamlessly connect this usage and entitlement data with the ERP and CRM objects or entities, and also revenue data to create more meaningful insights out of it. Right now, again, we have Daniel here. He's often in many pre-sales and post-sales situations where customer, he works with these personas. Let's find out from him about the couple of personas that he works with to understand how this monetization enables them, right? Yeah.
Thanks, Ravi. Yeah, and I appreciate that introduction into the personas. And so, as Ravi mentioned, right, there's various revenue teams that can be responsible for certain outcomes and digesting the analytics and insights and being able to really translate that into actions. And the two that we're going to focus on in this presentation, the first one being customer success manager, and the second one being product management. Now, with these two different personas, starting with a customer success manager, they have a set of goals and then insights that they're looking to understand out of the data that they're collecting and gathering, and the insights that they're looking to get out of it in order to translate that to meet their objectives and the outcomes that they're looking at. From a customer success manager perspective, there's what we've in our experience have seen and identified as important for this persona is really everything being customer centric, right? Looking at identifying opportunities to reduce churn risk, maintain a high NPS score, being able to ultimately drive a positive customer experience, and being able to identify during that customer journey, from evaluation all the way to renewal time and every step in between, being able to identify and reduce any stages of friction that can be encountered by a customer. And within this, there's four main data universes that are available with our software monetization platform that a customer success manager is able to draw insights out of. And really, as we drill into these universes from a product downloads and entitlement activation and usage perspective, some of the data that is important, and some of the insights that are extrapolated out of this that pertain to a customer success manager to help with their goals, is really along the following lines. From a product download perspective, it's really looking at download trends, being able to see, is a customer increasing in their download trend? Is it trending upward, or is there a decline in the downloads that they're having with your software? That could be an early indication that there's potential churn risk if all of a sudden you're starting to see the download trends starting to taper off and decreasing. That's an opportunity for a customer success manager to initiate a data-driven conversation with that customer and get an understanding. Maybe it's something of customers stuck on an older version and you have new releases and you're seeing that that customer is not taking advantage of the latest and greatest that you have available. So those are some of those insights that can be drawn from product downloads. As that translates into the entitlement data, especially around renewals or conversions, this is really at looking at the conversion rates or just being able to engage with customers and being able to make sure that you are proactive in your conversations with them, especially as you think about in a subscription business. No one wants to be surprised about bills or renewal dates coming up, and so being able to have the insight on, at a certain configuration date, let's say 30, 60, 90 days out of time, whatever that period is for your customers, being able to proactively reach out to them, alert them that that renewal is coming, and being able to make sure that they are successful, that there is minimal friction with your software, and making sure that that renewal goes as smoothly as possible. And then also for customers who are trying and evaluating your software, looking at those conversion rates as well to make sure that you're increasing your customer base as well. Now, as that translates into, right, that's the entitlement data from the actual record of the products that customer owns. When it turns into activations or the fulfillments, we're really looking to understand their intent to use your software. This is not the actual usage, but this is, is a customer even activating the capabilities that we have? Is it installed in any machines or any devices? Seeing customers that have a high fulfillment will be able to show that they're engaged with your software. And also if they are meeting, if they're approaching the capacity of the fulfillment, that could lead to a capacity issue down the line. And so you can be proactive in having conversation with that customer. Versus with low fulfillment, that may show that there's low adoption with that product, and being able to have a conversation with that customer, understanding why are they encountering challenges? Is it an education opportunity to make sure that that intent to use and that fulfillment starts increasing? And so that's from an intent to use perspective. But then as we translate that into usage, this is really where you're able to see true usage of how the customer is engaging with your software, from product features to denials or peaks in a server type capacity, and low and high water marks during peak periods, or just over time, seeing how that customer is using your software. This really provides information to understand the adoption of certain components of a product, understand that engagement, and be able to identify any potential friction areas. If there's denials that that customer is having, looking at opportunities to identify potential upsell, cross-sell opportunities, and understand from a customer perspective the reasons behind some of those denials or some of those peak periods that they're experiencing, and trying to make sure that you are providing enough capacity for those customers. So
Yeah, it
uh,
it's interesting, Daniel, that uh, I, I think when I'm seeing these universes and see a customer success manager, they're really taking a micro view of the few big accounts that they manage. So it's interesting, and I can already see how this maps to some of their goals. Like, say, a high fulfillment is an indicator that that customer might be your customer for an NPS candidate, the customer who is having high net promoter score, right? Somebody at low fulfillment is at a risk of churn, or probably they're stuck in their journey, and it's a point of friction for them. They're downloading, they're placing an order, they have an intent to use, but then there's no usage. It means they've not got the value. So yeah, I think this is really interesting on how a customer success manager can achieve their goals. Yeah.
yeah, and to your point, Ravi, I think with that micro view into each account, it's also making sure to reduce any surprises with the customer, right? That we are able to have a predictable trend in customer experience, and understanding how the customer is using and how should we correspondingly engage with that customer based on where they're at, in order to make sure that we are with them, present, and providing not just software value, but there's also that combination of the customer experience value that we're being able to provide for a positive experience with your software. So that's at a high level, kind of going through some of the key goals and insights that a customer success manager persona may be interested in. And pivoting into the second persona that we're going to be discussing today, looking at a product manager, where compared to a customer success manager, looking at a bit more micro view of account specific insights that they're looking to draw. A product manager has more macro level visions and insights that they're looking to get at a product level, because their goals are different, right? Versus churn risk, you're looking at product specific goals. We're looking to increase the profitability of your product lines, make product informed decisions, looking at where to balance resources and capacity, and then still with an importance of trying to provide a positive customer experience at a macro level, and also being able to run targeted marketing campaigns of certain capabilities or features that are released, and looking at certain customer geographies or certain regions to be able to target certain campaigns for some of those capabilities and some of those insights. So while the data universes are the same in this capacity, the analytics and the insights that they're looking to draw from are from a different perspective, right? Where with downloads, rather than the download trends for individual customers, you're looking at the downloads to understand the adoption for products, right? Looking at the product trends of what products are having high trends or low download trends, and being able to understand product adoption, and not just product adoption at a macro level, but even being able to break that out into regional segments for a specific region. What products are more popular there, or what is trending, and that can help you understand how you can potentially target certain customers or certain regions based on the products that they're using. Within the entitlement universe, really being able to understand from a renewals or from a conversions perspective, which products are being highly utilized or have the most amount of renewals, right? As you see that, that can also help draw decisions on where to invest more time or more effort in some of those capabilities and enhancements, especially with a high value product that has a lot more renewals, a lot more revenue tied and associated with it, versus a product that may have low renewals or low conversions. You're being able to understand some of those insights from that data that you're gathering, and not just from a entitlement perspective, but as you translate that into, again, that fulfillment or the intent to use, being able to see what what products or features are being activated or are being utilized by this customer, being able to understand, again, as a product manager makes those decisions of where am I going to allocate my engineering capacity or the resources that I have, is having the understanding of what products are highly utilized and have low value can help drive making those decisions of maybe products to retire, products to enhance, drive more delivery roadmaps down the line. And as you translate that into the actual usage, being able to not just understand the intent to use, but the gold mine of the proof point or like the proof in the pudding being that actual usage, right? Understanding the true use of the products, and that can help drive specific capabilities to be enhanced or new product developments within the product based on how that product is being used by your customers. Now, I say all that to say, right, there's that macro view of product insights, and I kind of gave some of those high level overviews, but we have a product manager on the call. Ravi, you're a product manager yourself, and so I was curious, from your perspective, you being a product manager, what are some of those insights, or if you can elaborate a little bit more on what I
Yeah,
what I covered at a high level from my experience,
yeah,
for you as
yeah,
a product manager in your role, how would you incorporate this data into your
Yeah.
day-to-day process?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's again, this is as interesting as CSM, right? Because this is closely aligned to my role, and I'll quote some of the examples from my own work within my product lines, right? Some of them are on-prem focused, some are SaaS, right? So especially in the on-prem world, right? Uh, we have products that are supported on many platforms, and those toolkits have the targeted operating system or chipset, right? So recently we've been monitoring the download trends about the HPUX and AIX platform that we have in our own data. This is like drinking our own champagne, hosting our products on FlexNet Operations, right? I'm wearing a hat of a vendor, a supplier, or a producer,
Right.
right? and and then I could use this insights to retire HPUX and AIX, right? Similarly, I see that the customers are downloading a GUI based license server manager. People are seeing a lot of value in it. What started as um, a, 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 a hackathon project or a hobby project, which then turned into a early access and beta, all of a sudden saw a lot of downloads. So we could invest more into it. Now you have a full-fledged GUI based license server manager that's helping the end customers achieve their goals. So I knew we had to make more investments into those capabilities, right? And if we go further again, like I just like the way this journey that you mapped out about adoption readiness, which is downloads, then ownership, that is entitlements, the intent to use, that is activation, and the real proof that a value my customer is realizing is coming from the feature or product usage. Because uh, strategically, uh, when I have the most important features or capabilities of my product, I almost always place a license consumption call around it. And when you see feature and product usage here, it's an ultimate proof that my customers have realized value for what they have paid. So it just gives me so much confidence about investing into certain features, moving certain features that experience high watermark from I mean, from good to a better package and better to a best package, and then make the decisions that will increase my revenue or product line profitability. Uh, and 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 again, we've also been able to run targeted marketing campaigns using this data based on the regional downloads, and we use some kind of custom attributes and vendor dictionary data also, which enables us to even understand certain market segments and then run targeted campaigns on certain market segments that adopt our product, right? So it's interesting how we could leverage these insights to meet our goals that you have listed nicely on top of this slide. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I think based on what I mean, my conversation with other customers, right? I mean, uh, we're just going to see through some of the reports. I mean, these are not everything that we have, and there are many more reports. But me and Daniel thought we'll pull out certain reports and just talk through them, right? We talked about the usage being that ultimate proof for value realization from your customer. License server usage is one such data point, right? And you could really see on this dashboard how your customers are using certain features over a period of time, right? And you can notify the revenue teams, right, when their customers are reaching certain thresholds to give a call to their buyers and then talk to them about an upsell, right? Or a potential overage billing solution where there are big enterprise you're selling to, you trust them, you give them unlimited overage, but then use the license server data to charge back during the renewals, right? So I mean, it's these reports about license server usage are immensely helpful to achieve these objectives for the various revenue teams, right? Um, in your organization. Uh, yeah, on similarly on the fulfillment, right? This is the intent to use that Daniel spoke about, right? And this really provide insights into if customers who have purchased your offering. I mean, many times, right? The decision makers about buying your product are different from people who are going to use it, right? So, a and let's say a procurement team decided that they are going to buy a solution like AHA or Jira, right? But then it's the engineering team or engineering managers who activate those things, right? So again, fulfillment is an act of that person who made the decision to buy is sitting there with the order and entitlement data, and then is driving those teams who actually got procurement team to buy it to actually activate it, right? So it's important to know if there is any friction where there's no information exchange between the decision makers and these users to utilize their product, right? So fulfillment is a good indicator into that. So yeah, a high fulfillment is a good indicator that these teams are aligned and the people are actually trying and activating their products, right? And a low fulfillment is a signal for a CSM to engage and ask, okay, I see you have placed an order, however, you're not activating it. Is there anything that I could do to help you? I mean, do you need some additional consulting? Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to find and activate your product, right? So those are the questions that engagement teams like CSM can have with their customers base if there are low fulfillment. Now, take that on the latest capability we added, right? The denials, right? Now, license servers are a, a repository of licenses for the employees and customers in an enterprise, right? Now, uh, you're selling to many customers and many enterprises. They have their own license server instances. Now, uh, when their product teams or the buyers or the project teams are using your offerings, right, and you see a denial in form of insufficient capacity, right, it is a clear indicator for an upsell where your sales team could say that, look, you bought this feature, but I already see in your license servers that you're getting a lot of denial on this high value AI enabled feature or ML enabled feature, right? You need to buy more, right? I mean, here's a buy more uh, proposal for you, right? So you could do that kind of targeted upsell. And the feature could be denied due to other reasons also. Let's say somebody requested a feature which was not on license server. It is an indicator that the project teams are trying to actually use it, but the decision maker didn't buy it. So it's an opportunity for sales team to say, look, you've been using these features. I see certain product or project teams are trying to use another feature which you haven't purchased. So here's a cross sell opportunity for the sales guy to say, you need to buy this capability also to enable your project teams. May you don't know, maybe they are stuck in achieving their goals, right? So that's another denial reason that you could use. And and if there are denials due to the rules of access, if certain access are blocked for certain cost centers, that's again a CSM conversation where they're saying, yeah, we see that you're experiencing denial because the access to certain licenses were deliberately blocked. Do you think this cost center is not paying up? Is there an opportunity that we could onboard that cost center also to use these offerings? It looks like they're also going to benefit from it, right? So I mean, you could, I mean, the possibilities are many. There are 7 or 8 denial reasons that give you insights into what those stages take you in your monetization goals, right? So again, all this data is coming where people are trying to use the softwares or products that you supply to them, and there are denials that give you these signals. On again on the renewals, right? CSM takes a good view of uh, this report, and if you had a visibility into your key accounts renewal position based on their usage, or you're a renewal team who are sending out the notifications or advance notice to your customers that you're up for renewal, right? Then it these dashboard reports help you achieve those using notifications, right, to outreach your customers. And we spoke about download. This is a basic report. However, you will see there are certain fields like region from which people are downloading your products, how many bytes are downloaded for the binaries that you host in our solutions, right? I mean, some of them use our downloads module, some of them don't. But then, if you are a user, then it's a good module from which you can derive the insights like the download trends, regional download trends, account-based download trends by placing various filters on these reports. So that's downloads. Yeah. Again, I mean, as a product manager, when I'm working with PMs who are responsible for this analytics dashboard, we build certain out of the box capabilities and the flexibility. However, I mean, Daniel, you speak to a lot of prospects, right, who are trying to integrate this. Can you explain a bit about the conditional notifications and how they are useful in their integration?
Sure, Ravi. I
Yeah.
think from to your point, as you elaborated, some of the previous reporting or analytics, right? Those are out of the box capabilities or out of the box reports on our monetization platform. But there's insights that you can gain within our platform. But oftentimes, what we experience with our customers is that there are other external business systems in their quote to cash process, ERP, CRM, financial billing systems, all which sometimes are involved in a process, whether that's in a new opportunity, in a renewals process, or in a billing post-consumption type scenario with a customer because they have a usage type model. And so oftentimes in those scenarios, there's insights that they want to get out of the data, but there's also actions that need to take place as a result of that, that sometimes can translate either to notifying someone or targeting a specific business system and updating information within that. And that's really where conditional notifications is able to provide value and capabilities to our customers, where we're able to extend beyond just the out of the box capabilities to connect and integrate in a low code fashion, literally logic blocks to those other business systems. So as you think about, let's say from a fulfillment perspective, you want to identify a threshold for a customer who may be exceeding the high upper limit of their fulfillment threshold, and you want to make sure that you are alerted ahead of time before they've completely utilized their capacity. A conditional notification could be targeted to that customer to understand when they've exceeded, let's say, 80, 90% of their capacity, and you could take action, whether that's notifying someone. So you could send an email, or you could also send a payload, a data set to a specific business system that may do something with that data, whether that's ingested for another report or also actually update objects in another CRM or ERP system, or translating data to a financial billing system. Thinking from a usage consumption data perspective, you may be able to send that data to that billing engine so that they can have the direct actual usage of what the customers utilized. And ultimately, all of this is really being able to not just have insights, but also take action on top of that, right? A lot of times it's not just stopping at, okay, I understand what's happening, but I want to do something about it. And conditional notifications helps with that. And as we look at where that sits in that, as we look at where that sits, both the conditional and event notifications in that quote to cash system, there's upstream and downstream business systems, right? You have in the upstream, you have those CRM, CPQ systems, and then also you have your ERP or billing systems that once a customer is actually using your software, especially as you think of consumption usage type license models, you want to have the exact usage of the customer to make sure that you're billing them appropriately and doing so in an appropriate fashion. Our entitlement management system collects that information, but we can also send and translate that information to those other business systems, and we can do so proactively with those notifications and the conditional, with the conditional notifications.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? If you've all joined us, thanks for giving your time, right? I'm just going to list out the key takeaways from what Daniel and I spoke, right, so far. One, our monetization analytics. It does bridge the visibility gaps in your quote to cash, right? It connects your customer order and revenue data with the usage and utilization insights that we have in our system to uncover some hidden insights and the monetization opportunities that your revenue teams need to know, right? And to be successful with their uh, goals, right? So that's the first takeaway. The second one being that our analytics report are built in a way where they provide insights even to a C-suite executive or a revenue teams or even an operations team who is helping customers activate their product or use your product or help them with licensing, right? And they are aligned with the goals that they are trying to achieve to create the maximum impact for your customers. And the last one being the fact that we've learned over the year that there are no two vendors who have the same reporting needs. So our vision is to enable you with the data share, which you already have in form of Snowflake data share or API, which are data access APIs. And then we're building the aspects of self-service where we want to provide a studio-like experience where you could drag and drop certain objects and create your own tailored analytics report, right? And this is where we are going with our monetization analytics initiative to make you successful and your various revenue teams successful in achieving their monetization goals.
Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Daniel. Really good stuff. If you have questions, we've got a couple that we're going to talk about now, but if you have questions, please feel free to enter them into the Q&A tab in the portal here. Let's see. Let's start with one. So you both have talked a lot about customer success, but can you talk more about how other revenue teams can also benefit from entitlement data? Any examples you can share?
Yeah, so I think we spoke about this micro and macro view, right? However, I mean, if you have a C-suite executive and they want to know, even at a more higher level and an Uber level where they want to know, okay, what are my product lines? What are the product lines that are experiencing the high adoption, right? Who are my top customers? Who are the customers for certain market segments, right? So C-suite executives are actually looking into a very high level view, and their goals really are going to be looking at these data and making those decisions. So C-suite executives can take an even higher view by playing around with the filters. There's also renewals team. Much like CSMs, they know what are my renewals that are coming up. They don't want surprises for their customers, right? There are compliance team or revenue recognition team where they could use this utilization data and have the chargeback conversations with their top accounts, right? Their goals are a little different. There are operations guy who use FNO to to help their customers activate their product and make sure they're successful with their purchases. So yeah, I can list out many personas at a vendor company who could benefit from this. Yeah.
Thanks, Ravi.
And I'd also add to that even just the sales reps, right, that need to look and chase down opportunities, and especially as you think about some of that denial data, being able to identify cross-sell or upsell opportunities. You're able to see a customer who is meeting, who's approaching the limits of their given capacity for their licensing, or they're trying to access products that they don't have access to. That can be a data-driven conversation for that sales rep to go to that customer and being able to say, hey, based on how you're using your software, we've identified that you're trying to access products that aren't in your current portfolio, and you now can have a data-driven sales opportunity conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. And I really like the way you both focus on sort of the micro and the macro view of things. And especially as more software producers are adopting consumption models, really having insights into some of those usage numbers from both a micro and a macro point of view certainly help from a customer perspective, letting them know when their consumption is too high or possibly too low. From a producer perspective of managing your costs for offering some of those features, AI is one of those features where we're seeing a mix of subscription models and consumption models. Either one of you want to chime in a little bit more about some of that and how usage data is really feeding both of those customer specific and producer specific needs?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people in SaaS space who are providing this kind of features, that they need to keep cost also in mind, right? So they need to align their cost with the various monetization objectives or profit that they're trying to make, right? I mean, the kind of recommendation they get from consultants is that provide a simple good, better, best kind of package. Look at how this how certain features are being used and transition them from being good, better, best, and then really taking that usage data to make those frequent packaging decision is one that you could do. Certainly usage is because it's a proof for value achieved by our customer. It does tell you what features to invest in, how to package them. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you both, Ravi, Daniel. Always love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your experience and your perspectives. Thank you to everybody in the audience for joining us today. Please be sure to reach out after the webinar if you have any follow-up questions, or if you think of something that we didn't get to. We'll be in touch shortly with a link to the recording, but please let us know if you need anything else. So thank you all and have a great day. Take care, everybody.
Thank you all. Thanks.